45着弾確認。標的資産。間違いなく先代様を撃破しました。また私たちの撃墜気象が増えちまうね。にひ。愛し合う2人。の引き裂いて1度、合わせて2度、もう一度引き裂いて3度楽しめるだっけ。そのついでにあのクソうるさいババアまでさよならできて最高にご機嫌よ。
ございます、ベアトリーチェ様。
あいつは魔女の碑文の儀式を妨害したのよ。第一のバンド生贄を勝手に蘇らせて私の儀式を妨害したわ。文句言われる筋合いなんかなんにもないわよ。しかしずるいなあ。あいつは死体を残さないのね。あのババアも思いっきり何度も無限にいじめ殺して遊んでやろうと思ったのに。ジョージが来てないわよ。いつ降りたのよ。
いつって、あれは何時くらいだったっけ。
確か4時か5時くらいだったかな。最低でも1時間以上は前だよ。
俺たち眠くなってその後は多分居眠りしてたし。でも多分ジェシカの言う通りだと思うぜ。1時間か2時間くらい前だった。
私もそのくらいの頃だと記憶しています。コーヒーのおかわりはいるかと聞かれましたからな。
Something hard to believe had happened. Apparently, when Aunt Eva had left for a second to wash her hands, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsu had disappeared. There's no way they went hiding somewhere. Of course, the doors and windows had all been rigorously checked and all were locked from the inside. Not one of them was broken. And that wasn't just true for the first floor, the second floor was the same. Again, all the doors and windows had locks built in a way that made it impossible to lock them from the outside. In other words, there was no way that Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsu had gone outside. And yet, they couldn't be found. Furthermore, they weren't the only ones who had disappeared. So had George Aniki, of all people. George Aniki had left saying he was going to get more coffee. And had gone downstairs more than an hour earlier. We'd assumed that he was having a conversation with Aunt Eva and the rest. But Aunt Eva, who had been in the lobby the whole time, said that no one had come down. Since all the doors and windows were locked from the inside, it was unthinkable that they had gone outside. However, 3 humans had evaporated from this barricaded guest house, which had become a perfect closed room. In a situation like this, we couldn't imagine that this was because they were playing hide and seek and trying to scare us with a prank. It was probably reasonable to assume that they'd been caught up in this crime. When Aunt Eva had learned that her only son was missing, she had gone half insane, running from room to room and yelling his name. And Jessica, who had suddenly lost both of her parents, had chased after her. Cries of George, George and Mom, Dad had continued to echo through the guest house for some time. I think George said something about wanting to see Shannon's dead face. It would be reasonable to assume that he snuck out of the guest house and went to the mansion. But I didn't have a clue about Uncle Cross and Aunt Natsuya. Did they see him leave and then go to the mansion to search for him? Without even telling Aunt Eva? At this rate, it's only a matter of time before we start planning to leave the guest house to go search for them. When that time comes, I'll agree. We'd thought staying holed up in the guest house would be safe, which was why our big happy group of 12 people locked themselves up here this morning. And yet, now there's only 4 of us left. That means staying here is no guarantee of safety. However, there's one thing we can't afford to forget. All the doors and windows were locked from the inside. This is a closed room. How did they manage to vanish from this place? We searched around thoroughly. However, we couldn't find any traces of someone hiding. The 3 of them had almost certainly been taken outside the guest house.
どうやってでしょう。まさか隠し扉とかがあるとか。
隠し扉？
扉も窓も外から閉めることは構造上不可能です。釣り糸の類を使ってもこの構造では無理でしょうな。となれば扉や窓以外から出たと考えるのが妥当でしょう。
確かにそういう論法にもなるだろうよ。隠し扉が存在しないなんて断言は誰にもできない。しかしそういう発想に飛躍する前に俺はもっとシンプルな可能性も疑ってる。
と申しますと？
For some time, Battler had been opening windows, opening shutters and checking outside, repeating this for each window.
この窓は静かだな。なるほど。この窓は他と違って建物の構造上風が吹き込まないわけか。
そのようですな。こんなにも外は風雨なのに雨も風も入ってこないとは不思議な気持ちです。
南條先生、今窓を開けた時音を感じたかい？
気にはなりませんでしたな。よく油が効いていると思います。
つまり誰も見ていない廊下の窓からひょろっと抜け出すことは可能なわけだ。しかもこの窓なら風も吹き込まないから風圧でカーテンや扉が音を立てることもない。静かなもんさ。
Battler leaned forward and looked at the ground below. He was searching for some sign that George had jumped down. But at a glance, he didn't see any mark like that on the grass in the middle of the pouring rain.
こういう窓が1階にもあるのかもしれない。誰にも気づかれず表へ出ることは可能だぜ。
しかし扉はおろか窓は全て施錠されて鎧戸まで閉まっていましたぞ。出ることは可能でも閉めることは不可能だ。
閉められるぜ。こうやってカチャンとな。
Battler closed the window and locked it, as though this was perfectly obvious.
まさかバトラさんが。
最後に中の人間が鍵を閉めればこんな密室は朝飯前だ。
しかしそれでは
Nanjo turned pale and shook his head several times, because the thing Battler had said had forced him to face a fact that was frightening even to imagine.
俺の想像したトリックだな。しかしこんなトリックを使えば怪しまれる人物は極めて限定される。
He didn't want to say it in front of Nanjo, But after eliminating Jessica, who had been with him the whole time, only Nanjo and Eva could have done it.
私はそんなことをしませんぞ。誓ってもいい。
となると、エヴァおばさんと南條先生のアリバイ合戦ってことになる。俺たちは二人とも怪しんで、それぞれを別々に監禁すればいいだけの話。逆に言えば、このトリックはもっと生存者が多ければ有効かもしれないが、これだけ人数が減った状況下では、大して有効ではないんだ。
No, on the contrary, there'd be a chance of having your own neck strangled by using it. It would have been more advantageous to make it look like the culprit was outside, to intentionally leave a door unlocked or break a window.
もしこの失踪劇が今日の昼にでも起これば、俺は自信満々にこの説を発表しただろうよ。だが、この段階に至っては、全然何なんだこいつは。一体何を意味してやがるんだ、この密室はよ。
やはりそんな。
なんだい、南條先生。思いつきでもいいから言ってくれよ。
Nanjo looked like he was trying to swallow his words, even though he'd thought of something, so I urged him on. After Dr. Nanjo refused several times, saying that it was just a foolish idea, he finally said it out loud.
イエス、やはりこれは本当に魔女の仕業ではないのか。
バカバカしい。魔女なんているわけがねえぜ。
魔女は私たちに訴えたいのです。人間にはできないことをやってのけるからこそ、自分を魔女だと認めさせたいに違いないのです。私はこのゲストハウス全体の密室からの失踪は、そういう魔女からのメッセージだと感じています。考えてはならないのです。意味なんてきっとないのです。私は恐ろしい。
As Dr. Nanjo shook with fear, it looked like he was trying to erase the fearsome thoughts that he kept imagining one after the other. When we went down the stairs, Aunt Eva and Jessica were enraged, and were each persistent in their desire to leave this place and search for their respective families. It was a desire that naturally hits those who can no longer see their family. Aunt Eva told Dr. Nanjo and me to stay here, but I shook my head and started walking.
もう引きこもりはたくさんだぜ。俺も外の空気を吸いたくなってきた。
ああ、行くならさっさと行こうぜ。もうこんなところに閉じこもってるのは真っ平さ。早く父さんや母さんやジョージ兄さんを探しに行こう。
The blood had all risen to Jessica's head. I hope it doesn't set off her asthma.
残りたい人は勝手に残ってればいいわ。とにかく私たちは表を探してくるわ。
南條先生はどうする？一人で留守番してるか？
いえ、私もご一緒させてください。
Rather than holding up alone in a guest house whose security was by no means guaranteed, it would be better to enter a danger zone as a group of 4 people. Aunt Eva had a gun. Moving separately from her was almost like asking to be made into the next victim. In this way, the 4 of us decided to leave the guest house. Even though it should have been safe to barricade ourselves here, we lost 8 people after doing so. It was almost as though this was a holding cell from which the sacrifices could be killed one after another. We removed the chain, unlocked the front door and opened it. It was already pitch black. While there were some lights outside that dimly lit the pathway, They didn't have enough power to pierce the darkness that some suspicious person might be hiding in.
行くわよ。遅れても知らないんだからね。
Still holding her gun, Aunt Eva dashed out without an umbrella. Jessica followed after her. After glancing at each other, Dr. Nanjo and I chased after them. What in the world is happening in this mansion, on this island? I've just been shut up in the guest house with the rest of the cousins since yesterday, so I don't know anything about what's going on outside. Just what is happening that I don't know about? Outside this room, in the mansion, on this island. Everything is happening, everything is proceeding, and everything is ending without my knowing it. Somewhere in my heart, I've already started giving up. Most likely, not one of us will see tomorrow morning. When the seagulls cry, nobody will be left alive. Jessica's woeful voice echoed throughout the rose garden. Perhaps it was the intuition of a person who lived on this island. After checking the part of the rose garden where Aunt Rosa and Maria had fallen and seeing nothing, Jessica went to look in the arbor next. Normally, the arbor was probably a wonderful location to enjoy tea peacefully while appreciating the roses on a good sunny day. Maybe even Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi had days when they relaxed and enjoyed their tea together here. In that arbor lay their corpses. At least they aren't drenched in the rain like Aunt Rosa and Maria had been, but there was no way I could say that out loud to Jessica at the moment.
どうなんだ、南條先生。
考察ですな。ほら、ご覧なさい。首にくっきりと何か細いもので締めた跡が残っている。
だな、まさかこっちが主たる死因のわけはねえだろうよ。
Right there lay two stake-like weapons decorated with an occult design, which had been found driven into Uncle Kraus' fire area and near Aunt Natsuhi's calf. When we found these sticking out of my parents' forehead and chest, we decided to preserve the crime scene and leave them for the police. But Jessica didn't care about such matters and immediately pulled the stakes out of her parents' forsaken bodies.
これで頭、胸、腹、膝、足の5つをえぐられた死体が出たわけね。くそ犯人め、殺してやる、殺してやる。第8の番まではこれで終わったわ。続くは第9の番なの。魔女は蘇る。誰も生き残れはしない。上等だぜ。魔女が蘇るってことは犯人が堂々と姿を現してくれるってことなんだろう。何が誰も生き残れないだ。私が殺してやる。父さんと母さんを殺した犯人をこの手で絶対に殺してやる。
Jessica let her emotions flow out as she howled furiously. To avoid being crushed by grief, she could do nothing but resist it with anger.
まだジョージが見つかってないわ。 ジェシカちゃんたちはここにいたければいるといい。私は屋敷へ行くわ。
エヴァさん、バラバラに行動してはいけない。みんなで一緒に行動しなくては危険です。
兄さんたちはもうどうしようもないわ。でもジョージはまだどこかで生きているかもしれない。ここで時間を潰してる暇はないのよ。
As Aunt Eva screamed this, Jessica glared at her. Eva had no more time to bother about the dead. She was more concerned for the safety of her only son, who had yet to be seen.
ジェシカちゃんはここでお父さんとお母さんのそばにいるといい。私はちょっと屋敷に行ってくるわ。バトラ君も南條先生もここにいてくれていい。
After arbitrarily saying this, Aunt Eva rushed out of the arbor. I called out to stop her, but there was no way she would listen. However, being alone in this situation meant nothing short of death. If we silently watched her leave, it would be the same as letting her die. Since Aunt Eva was unwilling to stop, we had no choice but to follow her. And, while it may be cruel to say so, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi were already dead, so there was nothing more we could do for them. In the end, we had no choice but to console Jessica and head for the mansion together. Fortunately, Jessica stood up. Perhaps she had been able to break free from her grief, but what had surfaced in its place was an expression like a demon's.
私がこの手でぶっ殺して必ず敵を取ってやる。行こうぜバトラー。犯人を見つけたら邪魔をするなよ。私が絶対に殺す。
俺も親父たちの仇があるんだ。悪いが早いもん勝ちだぜ。
そうだな。ぶっ殺してやろうぜ。
At my words, Jessica finally seemed to feel like we sympathized with her emotions. She still had that dark expression, but I felt that Jessica had regained some of her sanity. We took off, chasing after Aunt Eva. Through the rose garden, up the stone steps, running at full speed towards the mansion, whose large intimidating shadow flashed in the lightning. With this, the murders of the epitaph have reached the 8th twilight. And then, on the 9th twilight, the witch shall revive. None shall be left alive. I will most likely lose my life, but at the very least, I want to burn the truth into my eyes. That's the only thing motivating me to move right now. We were able to meet up with Aunt Eva, who was having trouble with the lock on the front door. It seemed that all the blood had risen to Aunt Eva's head. It was probably making her fingers clumsy. It looked like she couldn't even handle the simple task of inserting the key into the lock. Then there was a faint sound. The sound of the door unlocking. Just as though it had waited for all the survivors to unite before opening. It felt to me as though the malicious mansion was trying to swallow up all the remaining humans at once.